Oh, oh, what's going on? What's going on? You are now on YouTube, live on TikTok as well. And the topic for today is spouse visas. We're going to be talking about onshore visas, offshore visas. We're going to be talking about prospective marriage visas for those who haven't made it. We're going to talk about relationship registers if you want to shortcut your 12 months as a de facto. What else could we talk about? We could talk about priority processing and how you can get your application sped up potentially. And I suppose if people have got questions, I'll answer them. How would that be? Sounds pretty cool, doesn't it? Okay. Let me just do a... It says I've got sound, but we never know. Anyone's got a question, ask away. Like and share and tap on your screen. Oops. Oh my God. Oh my love, my darling, I've hungered for your touch a long, lonely time. Yes, the Righteous Brothers was on that TikTok there. It says I'm live. I only got one person watching me. That's probably me. Me watching me. Me watching me. Yes, the Righteous Brothers. Okay, we have sound. We have sound. We're right to go. Good to go. 190 processing time. Sanjeev. Oh, processing time. There it is. Right at the top. Processing times are dire. 17 to 25 months, but look, I don't think your 17 months is looking good. You're looking at 2 years. They're doing all the 189 applications now. There's no one's left working on on 190s because the 189s have got priority. So I think you're looking at close to 2 years. So that'll be June 75. You'll be looking at June 27. Hopefully you're onshore. If you're onshore and you've got work rights, you can work for a couple of years and you're just cruising around. You've been on a bridging visa, you probably can't travel overseas, but you might, if you're on a bridging visa A, if you've been a good boy, then you can travel on a bridging visa B. Of course, you can go home. You don't need to hang around. It's a 190. They're going to process it whether you're here or not. If you don't have a job or you don't have work rights, you can go home, see mum and dad for a couple of years and come back when it's granted. So there you go. You might need to update your permanent residence, not permanent residence, your police clearance. I was thinking a word with P. Your police clearance if you do that. But anyway. Hi, sir. What will happen with ART bridging visa holders? Well, you have a bridging visa until the ART makes a decision on your case, and then when you get notification, you don't have to leave Sanjeev. I'm saying you've got the option. So ART, you have a bridging visa. When you get notified of the decision, they'll say your bridging visa expires in, I don't know, 21, 28, 35 days. I don't know what off the top of my head, I don't know how much time they give you. It's about a month. So if you've been rejected, if you're all good, then it gets remitted back to the department and it stays there until the department makes another decision. So nothing changes. And if they reject you, then you basically get a month to lodge a federal court appeal or leave the country lawfully. Dree Murphy. Hey mate, should I submit expression of interest on my 485 visa without a job in my field? Well, look, there's no point lodging expression of interest unless you meet the points requirements, right? So, and a lot of expressions of interest, just an EOI with the Commonwealth for a 189, if you're on the list, if you've done a skills assessment, if you've got the points, go for it, right? But most of the states require you to at least have a job, probably a job in your field, and usually for a period of time. But if you look at the toolkit, we've got a state sponsorship wizard. You can enter in your occupation, how many points you've got, blah, 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 experience, where you're living, what your education is. And then bang, it comes up and it tells you the states that you're eligible for. And it also tells you whether or not we think you'll be successful based on your points. So what I would do, I would use the app before I started spending a lot of my free time making an application I wasn't going to be successful with. Almost every occupation needs 85 points. And it's hard to get that as a graduate because you normally need to have some sort of work experience. I'm still on my shakes. I'm not sure that I'm losing any more weight, but I'm down at 80 kilos. I'm very happy with that. And I just had a pizza because I was starving. I hadn't had a pizza for a while. I went to the pub. I was going to get, there's an Irish pub and they do a really good steak and Guinness pie, which is just impossible to find here in Hue Hin, Thailand, in beautiful Thailand. So I was having one of those for 2 months since I've been on the shake diet. And so I thought I'd go because my girlfriend's up in Bangkok and blah, 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 nothing to do. And I got up there and it's bloody Buddhist Lent or something. I don't know if it's a public holiday or what it is, but the pub was closed for Lent, for Buddhist Lent. So blame the man. What can I say? So anyway, so I ended up having pizza at the local village, which saved me a couple $100, but anyway. Hi, sir, from Sashar. Hi, heard they're going to update the bills regarding the ART. Don't know what that is. There's a bill before Parliament where they might not have a hearing. If they can decide something without calling a hearing, they're going to do that. Now, whether or not they do that, well, it might be that your case is so out there, like you've got no prospects of success, in which case they can reject you. They actually have that power anyway at the moment. But there might be a case where it's very clear that the department has got it wrong, and you don't need to bring in, their side, your side, a member and staff to go, oh, the department got it wrong. Yes, you're correct. And, we don't need that, right? We're trying to speed up the process. So there you go. Sanjeep, you can move anywhere you want. You're on a bridging visa. You can do what you want. The state, you want to try and get work in the state, right? Because what they'll do is they're going to write to you when the visa's granted, and 3 months later, and they say, well, where are you living? And you want to be able to answer Tasmania, right? So that's what you need to do. So Shah, if someone holds AAT bridging visa C and they apply for an 858 visa, can they apply? I don't know. I'd have to look it up. Book an appointment if you're on a bridging visa C and need to make an onshore application. Might be things called Schedule 3 that you need to worry about, which you might not be able to meet. Jules, is partner's visa my best bet? Partner and I are both nurses living together for 2 years. Sounds, you can't just be living together. Are you romantically involved? Do you share the same bathroom? Do you know the colour of his toothbrush or her toothbrush? So, these are, if the department comes and knocking at your door, is there going to be a Jules room and a other bedroom, or is it going to be partners' rooms? So partner visa is good. If you can't get PR as a nurse, then partner visa is good. I'm assuming the partner is an Australian permanent resident or citizen, or that you are. But it sounds like your best bet. It sounds like you're the one in need of a visa. If you've been together 2 years, that's a pretty good arrangement. So. By Jakal. So I don't have work experience enough. What should I do? Well, the two things you can do is you can go home and get the work experience, or you can, if you've got a sponsor, someone who wants to keep you on, you can apply for a training visa. Training visas, ideally, you're supposed to leave the country at the end of the day. That's part of the deal. It's a temporary visa. It's not a pathway visa. But if you've got 6 months and you do 6 months on a training visa, you're going to have 12 months, and you're going to be eligible for a 482. It's a little bit tricky because the trainee part, you need to show that you're learning skills that and that you're qualified and stuff like that. You can't sort of work as a trainee cook if you studied cookery and working as a kitchen hand or something like that, right? Learning the craft, you're supposed to know the craft once you've done the course. But if if Gordon Ramsay comes along and says, "Oh, we need more cooks. I'm going to teach you my beef Wellington," which my mate cooked the other day, not for me, unfortunately. But the Gordon Ramsay beef Wellington, which I have cooked before and which I know is exceptional, even with me cooking it, so it's got to be good. Then you can say, well, I'm upskilling. I am a cook, but I need traineeship in British cuisine or Gordon Ramsay cuisine, and then that way you can get there, right? So seek advice, seek professional advice. Soderab Loden, how should I bring my brother to Australia? Well, you can't do anything to help family members into the country, basically. They need to, anyone who's an adult needs to make their own way here. There are not partner visas, there are parent visas for things like that, and there used to be a remaining relative visa, but it's like a 14-year wait now, it's not worth applying for. I think the Northern Territory, I think, still has a state sponsorship path. If you just wanted to come as a tourist, it violates the fake engagement policies from our community guidelines. I'll have to appeal that. God, what's that about? It's probably because of my app here with this thing here. I don't like that kind of stuff. I heard recently I might need to take it down and wave it around in my hand if I can't do this. But we will wait and see what they say. We've appealed. Limited visibility. God. Crazy stuff. Okay, we'll see what they come up with. So your brother's got to basically apply for a tourist visa himself. There's a sponsored tourist visa. What I suggest you do is if you go to the toolkit on Aussie Visa Mate, and at the moment the toolkit is deep in the state sponsorship, go to video tutorials. There's a video tutorial there on tourist visa processing. It gives you all the tips on what to do and all the pitfalls, things to avoid, so that you can get family members into the country. Hopefully, look, if they're in high risk situations, which are at war, not to pick on anyone, but Afghanistan, Pakistan, Gaza, these kind of places, anywhere with a civil war, they're not going to let you in, right? Because they think you're just going to apply for Myanmar, for that matter, for protection when you get here. So if you've got some money behind you, apply for a tourist visa. So that's really not a tourist visa, a student visa. Go for that. Ravneet, hi, I'm working as a chef in New South Wales for the last 6 months, but I have changed my employer. Is it true that we have to do 6 months with the same employer? Not for a 482 visa. You might need to do that if you're looking at state sponsorship, and you didn't mention what state. Oh, you said New South Wales. I don't know. I don't know. You'd have to check the New South Wales site. Of course, they're going to update it when they update pretty soon. Appeal approved. There you go. We're back. That's good to know. And Ravneet, look, if you want to book an appointment with me, I'll look it up for you and give you the gospel, but I can't tell off the top of my head. Someone whose name I can't is on a 491 bridge visa, did a section 56 in August. Can't be too far away, can it? It's on a case officer's desk. They will try and finalise it, even if they're not applying, if they're not processing any more of them, like taking new ones off the queue. If they've already started it and you've supplied documents, you would have they would have given you 28 days. So maybe September, early October, maybe very soon. Hopefully by Christmas. Rizwan said, Heartme. Heartme's are great. They support the channel, and that's what we want. You can tap on your screen for likes, and you can share the thing. We've only got 6 people. It's Tuesday, only 6 people. God, dearie me. Maybe that's because they took me off the whatever they call that thing. Anyway, we'll see how we go. Someone's followed me. That's great. Monocroto. Can I put 186 visa with 2.5 years? Well, you can if you're on a skills in demand visa, but you can't if you want direct entry. Direct entry is 3 years and a skills assessment. So, and temporary residence transition is 2 years on a 482 visa. And of course, to get a 482 visa these days, you need 12 months. So you need 3 years either way. AFA, hello, sir. What are the chances for 190 for a lab technician chemistry? There's none. There's none. We looked at these, all the chemists, chemistry people. I'll put laboratory. Medical laboratory technician, no state offers, no regional offers. Yes, my memory is correct. It's not on the CSOL. You don't have much hope. You probably need to look at being a chemist or something else. Ravneet, we already did. Pathway 1 and okay, no worries. Okay, we're out of questions because TikTok said I'm not available on the For You page and my appeal was allowed. I might need to restart. Or maybe I'll just call it an early day. I don't know. So oh, people are joining, passing by. Who's got a question? If you're after really valuable information, Aussie Visa Mate, that's what you want. My app, it's available in the App Store up to version 2.51. There was a small bug in 2.5 and it was quickly found because it was the new feature trying to get to the new state sponsorship wizard. For some reason, it didn't happen on my iPhone or iPad, but on someone else's who probably had a later version of the operating system than me, because I only run in version 17 because all my hardware is so old, I don't want to run the latest versions. Yeah, it was crashing when you clicked on state sponsorship wizard, and I had to fix it last night, and then Apple pushed it through, and now there's 2.5.1. So it's good to get some feedback, and we can do that. Almazio has sent me a question via chat. Okay, well I'll get to that after the live session. Wilfredo, can I still get a working visa even though I'm already 53? I'm a vacuum excavation operator driver. So you can get a work visa. There's no age restriction on work visas. You need to meet all the requirements. You need to speak English. You need to have a sponsor, and you need to earn more than $76,500. And that excavation operator driver thing, I don't know if that's on the CSOL, but you might, well, you can still get one up to 55 on a Dharma agreement, but the 494 visa is restricted to, that's got an age restriction because there's no age restriction on the 191, so which is the permanent residency step after that. So Wilfredo, you need to get a sponsor and do everything it is to. I'm doing I don't know when it is, but it's on a Friday. I'm doing a series of webinars on Friday at 10 o'clock Sydney time, and they're rotating. So I'm doing a truck driver one, I'm doing an early childhood teacher one, I'm doing a carer one for aged carers, personal carers, community workers, social workers, welfare workers, all the carers. And I'm doing a general one on work visas and skills in demand and how that works. So Hamza, I'm not a recruiter currently, but if you're in one of those three areas, you're a truck driver, you're an early childhood teacher, or you're a carer, then there's a link in my bio you can fill in. And I don't know what I'm going to do yet. Depends on how many people. But I've got hundreds of truck drivers. So I'm thinking about. I need to collect more information, where they are and what licenses they've got and how many speak English and blah 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 blah. But I've mapped out a 4-step process, and then the 4th step is going to be some sort of recruitment. I don't know if it's going to be a newsletter to employers. I don't know if it's going to be an app for employers. I don't know if I'm going to start making phone calls and be a recruiter again, because I did recruitment for 12 years. Like people keep saying, oh, I can't find jobs, I can't find sponsors, blah, blah, blah. They just don't want you, right? There's 3,400 companies as of January who are 482 sponsors, and we've got more work visas, foreign migrant workers in Australia than we've ever had. 225,000 people on 482 visas. So there's obviously people employing them, but some people don't have the skills. They think just because they've got their diploma in early childhood that they're going to suddenly walk into a job. It's just not, doesn't work like that. Yeah, well, Fredo, look, the thing is, book into the webinar, and I'll explain the process. But essentially, you need to get to Australia to get a job, unless you've got a very, very rare skill set. You're an astronaut. You've got a PhD in some sort in cancer research or something like that. Unless you're on LinkedIn and the company approaches you and says, "Hey, we need you in Australia. Get over here. We'll pay for everything." Then you need to get to Australia and you need to find a job just like everyone else. Because the reality is we've got close to 1.5 million, well, not Australians, but we've got 1.5 million temporary residents in Australia who are students, who are student graduates, or who are working holiday visa people, and they're all applying for these kind of jobs, right? So if you want to compete with people who already have their feet on the ground, you've got to level the playing field by getting your feet on the ground. And that's why, I'm inundated with truck drivers. I mean, I've got to get 100 a day making requests, just saying hi, or I'm a truck driver in Dubai, or I'm a truck driver here, or I'm a truck driver in Tanzania, or I'm a truck driver in Ghana, I'm a truck driver in Poland, right? A lot of them can't even spell truck driver, and I know they're not going to pass the English test. It's a waste of my time. So I need to set up this filtering process. So register, and if you get through to the 4th or the 3rd stage, then you'll be eligible to, you'll know what you need to do at the 2nd stage, and the 3rd stage, you'll be making applications, and the 4th stage will be recruitment. So that's the situation. If all immigrants leave the medical sector tomorrow, what will be the impact? I don't know. Because you got to remember that there's a lot of immigrants who are already got their permanent residence. They're not going to leave, are they? Right? And I don't know that there's that many. We've still got a skills shortage in the medical sector. If there was that many migrants here in that sector, then we wouldn't have a shortage. I'm sure it'll affect the Uber and the number of people working in dodgy cash-only restaurants and things like that. And I'm sure some of the ladies of the night around Sydney University will be out of work as well. But, you take the good with the bad, don't you? Can you help me? Alex, can you tell if the Visa 189 system would change by any chance? And what can I predict? Well, the 189 system is going to change. It's part of the 10-year plan, right? And everything. They said they changed student visas. They've changed that. They're changing. They made changes to the skills in demand visa. They're announced changes to the occupation list coming up sometime soon. we don't know when the changes will be made. Last year, I said they'd do a round in November, and then they changed the system. Well, they didn't change the system, but they did do a round in November. This year, I'm saying the same thing. They do a round in November. That'll get all the current people out of the way, and then they can change the system and gives everyone 6 months to learn how it works and make applications and blah, 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 blah. What are they going to change? I don't know. It's pretty much universal that they're going to get rid of the NADI second language, and they're going to get rid of bonuses for studying in regional schools. The JSA report, which came out a week or 2 weeks ago, suggested that there should be more points for people with more work experience. Now, we already have that, but they were saying it should be people with 8 years work experience get it. That's the sweet spot, they think. And that's a government department telling the government what to do. So you don't know whether or not a minister has told the government department what to say so that they can say they said it when it was really the minister, and then it happens, and then they can turn around and say, well, it was in the report, so we had to do it, right? It wasn't our fault. So there might be a swing away. There's already a swing away from international students because 85 points is basically the minimum. Nursing, I think, is 80, but most of the rest are 85, if not higher. IT and engineering weren't even offered in the last round, and that's two of the biggest student, certainly in the degree world, the student people. So why don't you read my bio, Wilfredo, instead of asking me questions which are already answered on my bio, right? Just go and have a read, right? So those are the changes that might happen, but who knows what they're going to do? Grattan put out, I thought, a terrible option last year. If it was up to me, I'd get rid of it, right? I would get rid of general skills migration. We don't need it. We've got thousands of people, tens of thousands of people, hundreds of thousands of people on work visas, which is unlimited, and half of those people every year are eligible for permanent residence on a 186. It's over 100,000 people this year are eligible for permanent residence under employment nomination. And we've got a cap of 185. It's not really 185, but they say we've got a cap of 185. And then 40 of those are also like spouse applications, and another 10 or 12 are parents and all those other family ones. So that's 50 gone. And we've got 100 just from ENS direct entry, ENS transition, not even counting the ones that are on direct entry now, right? So we don't need a GSM program, right? Or we just need a very small one for specific occupations like doctors, right? Okay, Hussein, I work as a tiler. You can book an appointment with me by, see it here, meeting.dragonmigration.com, or the link's in my bio, or you can just drop me a DM and I'll send you the link. So, okay, Hussein is a tiler in Brisbane. Appeal again. Oh, Jesus Christ. We might need to take we'll just take the app off, get rid of this shit, and make a complaint to, there you go, now I've got a black screen there. God, hang on, let's figure it out. Oh, there you go, we got that one done now. Okay, well, we just put it up there, put contact details there. Let's see if they complain about that. Of course, now, oh God, there you go. You get me on full screen now. Poor you. Okay, there you go. That'll do. Now let's find out how can you book an appointment? There's a link in my bio. Okay, Alma, I'm applying for a partner visa with a relationship certificate. Is there anything else I need? Well, there's crap loads of documents you need for a relationship. You're going to prove you're a spouse, right? So, you know, you need finances, you need social, you need friends and family, etc., etc., etc. You need to show you live together, etc. There are lots of things you need for a partner application. It's started to rain. It's pouring. Yes, it was beautiful and sunny today, and now we've got the rain here in Hua Hin, Thailand. No good. Okay. Will they not open Mendelstein? Will they not open nominations in South Australia this year? I assume they will. Didn't they announce? Aren't they one of the ones that announced that they've got a what do you call it? A temporary allocation? Don't know. Solid plastering. So TikTok's tried to knock me off with. I've had to take Aussie Visa Mate off the screen. You'll need to download Aussie Visa Mate to find out about solid plastering. I can tell you, but solid plastering. It's on all the lists. 65 points was the last cut off. No states. So if you're not one of the lucky, I don't know, 10 or 20 people who got solid plastering, then you need a job offer and apply that way. Where can you find a company that does sponsoring? If you download Aussie Visa Mate, in the VIP section, job sponsors, 3,400 approved 482 sponsors, eligible sponsors who've already sponsored people. So, and then, you know, or you can go to someplace like Seek or something like that, and 9 in 10 will say we only want Australian permanent residents or citizens. So, yes, appeal approved. We're back, but it'll probably drop off again. Jeez, absolutely hopeless. Okay. So, New South Wales 401 pathway direct nomination or ROI. I've got no idea. Of course, New South Wales is closed, and we don't know if pathway 1 will still exist when it does open. So we will see. Is Crest White, is visa to onshore partner visa possible? Well, it is, but there's two things you need to concern yourself about. The first one is that if you're on a tourist visa, you might have an 8503 no further stay condition. And if you have that condition on your visa, you'll know when it's granted. Then if you've got that condition, you can't make another application. You can't make what's called a valid application while you remain in Australia. Now, you can apply to have that condition removed, but they won't do it just because you want to apply for a partner visa. They'll say, well, you can apply for a partner visa offshore. So when you apply for your tourist visa, see if you've got that condition, because then you won't be able to apply for it. The second thing you've got to understand is when you apply for a tourist visa, you don't have work rights. If you come to Australia and then you're on a bridging visa for 2 years waiting for your partner visa to be granted, your bridging visa is not going to have work rights either. Now, you might be able to apply for them, but it's not guaranteed. So you should be, it's prudent to work along the assumption that you're not going to have work rights until your visa is granted, and so you might be 2 years without work. Which, you know, if you've already got kids, maybe your spouse doesn't need to work, right? Might not be an issue. Maybe you're planning on having a family, it might not be an issue. But if you're living in Sydney, you need 2 incomes just to pay the rent, so you can eat rice for the rest of your life. Well, yeah, you might need work rights. So it's something else that you need to consider. Colin says you might not know this. And he's correct. Good morning from Chica. Sadia, we have got the details today for New South Wales allocation and requirements, did we? Oh, I haven't got that. I'll be onto that tonight. I'll be updating Aussie Visa Mate and the thing. Do they have a mailer? Because I got a mailer from Tasmania yesterday, and And also, did they say what their allocation was? So the allocation's been announced. That's Sadia. Get on, give us the news here. God, I'm going to have to put you on the payroll. ICO killer, protection visa 866. Well, I don't do protection visas, but if you've got a claim for protection, then make an application. You can always make unless you've made a previous protection visa application, you can always make a claim for protection. So, but you need to be, a convention refugee. You need to have a genuine fear of persecution based on your race, sex, political, religion, or member of a social group. Those are the 5 categories. Geez, it's been a while, but I can still remember them. So there you go. And there's all sorts of criteria when you can't apply and all that kind of stuff. So, yes. Ashish, I'm looking for sponsorship for a chef, and I've done my skill assessment. I'm not recruiting for chefs. So I can't help you there, unfortunately. Chick is looking for any company that can sponsor a truck driver. So look, you can go to seek.com.au, but if you don't put the cart before the horse, right? You've got to have a driver's license. You've got to have a skills assessment, and you've got to be looking in the right spots. You have to be on a Dharma agreement, which means basically you have to be in a regional area, and Perth's counted as regional, even though it's a capital city. And Darwin, because the whole state of the Northern Territory and Western Australia are Dharma agreements, and they have truck driving on their list. But you're not going to be working in Melbourne or Sydney or Adelaide for that matter, or Brisbane. You're going to be working in regional areas. But these people, employers don't want to know that you want to come, right? I don't want to know that you want to come, right? I want to know that you want to, that you need to get here in order to get your driver's license, and you want to know how I can get you here, and I can get you here either as a tourist or as a student, so that you can study a Cert 2 in driving operations, which will get you your license in Australia. Now you can come as a tourist, but a lot of people don't have the option of coming as a tourist, and some people, I don't know, that they expect that the employer's going to pay everything, and that's certainly not the case. You've got to get here on your own steam, and just like everyone else has, and compete with the Australian market. So, yeah, those are the things that you need to consider. So you need to do some research, and you want to do some research. Register on my website, because I outline all of that process in the information kit that gets sent to you just from your email, and then sometime, maybe today, I've got to update New South Wales, I don't know. But I'm doing a webinar. I'm supposed to be doing a webinar on Friday. If I don't do it on Friday, it won't be until November. But there'll be a webinar on Friday which will outline all that. And the webinar, you can book into the webinar, link in bio as well. There you go. Thank you. How likely? Well, look, the test for getting work rights, Crest, is that you've got a compelling need to work. And that's defined as you don't have money to pay your rent, your food, and your clothing. They don't give a shit about your petrol or your mobile phone or your Netflix subscription. They only consider what you spend on rent or mortgage, I suppose, but most people it's rent, food, and clothing. Now, if you've got no money, then good, but what's your partner got? If your partner's earning 100 grand, you're not going to get work rights, because they're going to say, well, you're living with your partner's paying everything. They were paying everything before you got here. They'll keep paying it, right? If your partner loses their job and suddenly there's no income in the family and there's no savings to live off, well, then you might get up. So how likely is it? It depends on your situation and the evidence you put forward. Like I charge $500 to do one of these. It's not a lot of money, right? So, but they're not trying to stop people from working. They just only want to let people work who need to work, because you came here knowing that you weren't going to work, right? So people's situation changes, and the department's flexible about those kind of things, but they're not going to let you change just because it's inconvenient for you and you want to work, right? So normally, like if you've applied for a permanent visa, or if you've applied for a work visa, and the business wants you to start, the department goes, oh, well, our processing times are pretty long, and that's our fault. So we better let them work, right? Because the government doesn't want employers offside, right? They found someone, they've forced them to advertise and all the rest of it. They, and then they've paid thousands of dollars, and so people should be able to work, right? And the government should rightfully employ the right number of people to process all these applications. So. Hasib, you can't spell number and you can't spell WhatsApp. So I don't think you're going to be eligible because you're not going to pass the English test, which is the first requirement. So if you haven't done an English test, then you don't get my WhatsApp number. No one does. But you're wasting your time. You need to do an English test. You need to get IELTS 5. You need to register and download the information sheet so that you know what the requirements are, right? Michael sent me a basketball. Your name's not Jordan, is it? Oh, it's Lubiga. Anyway, very good. Michael, he wands. I'll wave my magic wand. D is close to T, I suppose, on the keyboard. Might be a typo. Hey, are you answering questions? I think so. I am. Gian, how to get an Aussie wife? I don't know. Jeez, it's bucketing down now in Hua Hin, Thailand, and there's trucks beeping and all kinds of things. How to get an Aussie wife? Well, I suppose you earn a lot of money. If you're in Sydney, you got to earn a lot of money. But otherwise, I don't know. I've got a Thai girlfriend. I tried Australia. I've had, who have I had? I've had Polish girlfriends, English girlfriends, American girlfriends. Haven't had anyone Spanish. Had a Thai girlfriend. I've got another Thai girlfriend now. Had a Chinese girlfriend. I'm sure there's been others. So I'm a man of the world. What can I say? And my former partner, who I have a child to, is Australian. So good old Jody. So yeah. Ask questions. Just ask. SS808. My occupation is in the Mitzel, and my partner has Sitsol. Can I claim points for 190? I don't know. Apparently the new 190 rules just came out. I haven't looked at them. I do not know. But drop me a DM and I'll get back to you. I'll let you know. SS is following the host. Following's free, of course, people. If you want to follow, following's free. Learn all about Australian migration, spouse visas, work visas, other general skills migration. My general thoughts on how we could fix the immigration system. Hello, friend from J Carts. Obviously a migrant because the Australian racists don't like me. You and some of the I think for certain races who are international students, they don't like me either. But anyway, Dot. He doesn't have a name. How long does it usually take for my temporary to get accepted? I submitted it in March. And that's a spouse application, so it's about 18 months. It could be longer if it was offshore. I checked out the global processing time. That's where to check, and it takes quite a long time. But people's experience. Look, I think there are people who apply offshore, and they apply because they're in England, right, or they're in America, but most people are in England who have success. And the London Embassy is just, it's a very well staffed embassy. It's got lots of people. And we've got lots of Brits here and a lot of Aussies over there. They meet, they have relationships. We've got people going over there for work and international companies at PwC and those kind of mob. And they've been in long relationships for a long time, like over 3 years, or they've already got children and they're coming home. and they get priority. You get priority processing if you are in a long-term relationship or you are or you've got a child, right? So those ones lowered the 50% average, and the 50% average is about 18 months at the moment. If you've got, like you've said, you're using the global processing times, I've got that on my app, right? So it's always available to me. So if I look at a 309, offshore it says 14 to 24 months, but all the ones that are quick, less than 6 months, they're lowering that 14-month number, right? So really, the people who don't have priority processing, on average, they're taking 18 months, which is ridiculous for what is a 2-year visa, right? So if you don't have priority processing, then it's going to take 18 months plus. If you're offshore, if you're coming from like being processed by India, they're not well staffed, they're overwhelmed, and they take forever, right? So it depends where you're applying from. So if you can get a tourist visa and get into the country, it's just so much better, right? Papua New Guinea, Jay Carts, there's a link in my bio. Fill in the form and we'll be in contact. Hamid Khan, Construction Project Manager, 491, 90 points. You should download Aussie Visa, mate. I've been, the link's there, right there, avm.dragonmigration.com, right? Version 2.5.1, this is the bug-free version. There was a bug in the last one yesterday. You might not be, because I'm looking at the horizontal screen, and on the vertical, it's just at the bottom there. I don't know where I can move that. Don't know if I can move it. Let's try putting it up there. We'll put it up there. Anyway, you can see it at the top there, not very clearly. Well, actually, it's pretty clear on my, it's clear on my iPhone. Look, very clear. So, okay, you should be able to read that. So you can look it up on Aussie Visa, mate. Trying to get back into it. God, the rain. I was just saying today how the wet season was over and all that kind of stuff here. Construction Project Manager. Okay, I'm onto it. Now, they're in big demand. Western Australia. Construction Project Manager. It's on all the lists. There's 2,000 applicants, and we took 350 last year, approximately. The last round, 90 points is what you needed. And for state sponsorship, actually New South Wales took the most. They took 300. Western Australia took 73. Western Australia actually has more applicants, 1,350 applicants. They have Curtin University over there. If you're looking for a course, Curtin University, Construction Project Management, their Masters of, I don't know, Construction and Building, I don't know what it's called, but their Masters, very, very good course. The miners rip people out of that course, and yeah, you can make big dollars if you're a good graduate, right? In terms of points, 52 with 95 points, 325 with 90 points. You need 90 points. It's pretty simple. And there's 600 on 85 points. If you get really lucky, maybe with 85 points, but that's 1,000 people with 85 points or higher. I don't like your chances. Victoria took 61 people from 1,100, so that's 5%. Not very good. Well, ... If you've done it onshore and you've done it yourself, it's not. Plenty of people do it themselves. If you don't have any difficult cases, then it'll be fine. If the department wants more information, they'll write to you, right? And they'll give you what's called a Section 56 request, and they'll say, oh, we need more information on this, and you've got 28 days to provide it. Or if it's going to take longer than 28 days, like it's an overseas police clearance, then you've just got to let them know that you've started the process, you've made an application, you send them the receipt. So, yeah, all the best. My partner visa took 4 months. UK, Australia. My jaw dropped. Yes, there you go. As I said, UK. Jane Ross, hi. How are you? I'm good. I don't know Jane Ross, so but good to see you. Ben Storr. I'm Bernard from Indonesia. Spent most of the times farming. Is there any chance to work in Australia? Well, there are some farming occupations on Dharma agreements, and there's also, I'm not sure if Indonesia is part of the Pacific engagement visa or not. And if you're under 30, you probably don't have a degree though, because you've been working on a farm. But if you're eligible for the working holiday visa, Indonesia's got one. There's only, I think, 500 places. I could be wrong about how many places there are. But you know, the working holiday visa gets you to Australia, and that's what you can look at. So there's some things that you can look at. To get a job though, you really need to be in the country. So maybe you should look at trying to either come as a tourist, which might be hard, or a student visa to come and study agriculture or something like that. Yes. The Night of Jesus someone. Prospective marriage visa 300 applied since June, received a section 56 in April, no further updates. It's taking a long time, isn't it? I don't recommend the prospective marriage visa. It's not, it's just not a good visa to do. Like the test for this, for those people who don't know, the test for this visa is that you physically met someone, right? And so you've just basically got to show a picture of the two of you together, and you say you want to marry them. And the idea is that they can come to the country and you can get married. And then once you're married in Australia, you can then apply for a spouse visa. I mean, just get married offshore, or preferably sign a relationship register. But you can't do it. It's over 20. It's not 2026, so it can't be too far away, because April they send a request to the Global Feedback Unit. Say, look, I've responded to my Section 56, and it's been 6 months. How long is this going to take? And see what they say, right? Nonchalant. Meow. Meow. A nonchalant pussycat. What would be the best time to lodge EOI before my visa expired? 1 year, 2 years? Well, you lodge an expression of interest immediately, right? If you've got a skills assessment and you've got 60 points, lodge your expression of interest. It costs you nothing. Something might happen. You never know, right? The department does make mistakes. You might get an offer, right? And then if your English test increases, then you update your system and your points update. If you get more work experience, if you get Australian work experience, if you finish a degree in a course in Australia and your points change, well, you just update your EOI. So like, it doesn't cost you anything. Just fill it in and do it. Like, it's probably going to change, and it's probably going to be useless by after November, but we'll just have to wait and see what happens. How long to grant a 189 for the registered nurse? So look, the 189 processing time, if you're on the website, it says 8 months. It says 8 months because they haven't been processing any since January, and January to September, surprise, it's 8 months, right? So the back in when they were processing them, back in sort of, you know, March and April, it was taking 3 to 5 months. So if you got an offer in August and you're lodging now, this is a 189, and you lodged in September, or you're almost out of time, you got to lodge by the 22nd of October, you've only got 2 months, then it's going to take 3 to 5 months. So if you lodge in September, you might get it before Christmas, if you're lucky. If you did it in early September, you might get it by early December. Otherwise, February, March at the latest, right? Unless you got something crazy about yours and it takes 12 months, right? Desi from TikTok, how can I check my my visa status? Well, there's a thing called Vivo, the visa entitlement something. I don't know what it stands for. Anyway, these entitlements, but that'll tell you whether or not your visa is still valid, if you've got one, all that kind of stuff. or you can ring up the department and go. People always go, "Oh, I'm calling for a friend," and of course they can't tell you then because it's privacy information. But I think I'm unlawful. Oh, you better come into the department. That's when, as soon as they ask you to come into the department, that's when you ring for a migration agent. Addy, no, I don't have the app for Android, but I am considering doing for the GSM stuff, the stuff that's sort of gated at the moment, is putting doing a paid link in my bio. So you put in your email and your occupation, and it'll send you the current month's, and it'll charge you like maybe $5 or something like that, and it'll charge you the it'll charge you and just email you the PDF for that occupation. That's what I'm thinking about doing. People have said, put it on a website, and websites are no good for me either. But I can do this. The thing is, there's I'd have to do 400 PDFs. I can automate the whole thing, but then I can automate that part of it. But I'd have to do if this occupation, send this document. If this occupation, send that document. It's a bit of I'm not sure if I can fully automate it. So yes, but we'll see what happens. I might just do it manually and run the process as people pay me. If no one's going to pay me, I don't need to create 400 documents. So yes. Bhupal is from India. Congratulations. The Love Doctor. Can I help you out? I don't know, but you're following me. Thank you. Desi, you're currently hot in bridging visa A. Okay. Jane Ross, do you know how long it takes for Australia visa to approve? Well, someone said earlier, there's the department's processing times, but also on my app, Aussie Visa Mate, which you can download, avm.dragonmigration.com, and that will assist you. We keep that up to date. They haven't changed the work visa. We've got some lightning flashing. Jesus, is it going to crash? No big crash. So yeah, look, that's the sort of story. Yes. Oh, it flashed, and now the thunder's coming, but it was a good 20 seconds away, so it means the lightning's 6 kilometres away, doesn't it? For those scientists out there who know that the speed of sound is 300 metres a second, and therefore every second between when you see the lightning and where you hear the sound is 300 metres. So yeah, if it takes 20 seconds to get the difference, it's 6 kilometres away. Holy Josh, we've got Jesus and we got Holy, we got everyone. I bet you Bhupal's a Hindu probably. A clash of the religions, and I got the Buddha over my shoulder. And it's Buddhist Lent apparently. I couldn't get a drink today. And I don't normally drink. I wanted one. I couldn't get one. That's just the way of the world. Can someone who holds a Diploma 3 in healthcare get a sponsorship visa to Australia? I don't know. It's not what your education is. It's what your occupation is. So I don't know what a diploma. We don't have Diploma 3s. We have diplomas and advanced diplomas. We have Certificate 2 and 3. In Australia, so whatever your qualification is overseas, it'll match an Australian qualification, and whatever you're qualified to do, if you got sponsored, you'd be able to get a visa. So, for instance, if you're an aged care worker, or a disability care worker, or what we call a personal care assistant, if your diploma qualifies you for any of those 3 occupations, then yeah, you could be sponsored on a work visa. And there's a link in my bio. You could register there, get some information, although the information is not ready for that one yet. But you can register when it'll come, and there's going to be a webinar coming up for that one as well. Why welders in very high points? Well, probably because they didn't invite very many. If they only invite 5 people, they get the upper class from England who speak the King's English and are good with a soldering iron and things like that. So they take those people. Whereas, if you're a peasant like me, then what can I say? You got all these other people ahead of you. But look, well, I actually know he's a motor mechanic. I was talking to one of my English students. He's Italian, and he was saying his mate came out here, obviously from Italy, and he said, well, he landed in Perth, and within a week he got a job as a motor mechanic. He's on his working holiday visa, and then he said, oh no, I've only just got here. I want to travel and blah blah blah. I don't want to do it. Blah 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 blah. And he went to Darwin, and within another week he got another job as a motor mechanic. So motor mechanics and welders definitely, they're in demand. If you can get to Australia, you'll get a job, right? So, but you need to meet the English requirement. And then once you got a job, you're here for 2 years, welding away, time flies, and then you got PR. You can do whatever you want after that. So, gift. Didn't gift me, but followed me. Thank you for gift. The gift. Warzel, Gummidge. I have a positive skills assessment. That's a good thing. As a building associate, which is the best visa option? So building associate is one of those really cool occupations. I think you only need a diploma for it, don't you? Is that it's the miracle one? You don't need a degree. So it's on the seesaw. You need to be sponsored. It's not on the GSM pathways. So you need to, or state sponsorship pathways, you need to be sponsored by an employer. So as a building associate, it's the only option. It might be on a Dharma agreement as well, but if you're under 45, just get on a 482. Yeah. Top Boy, almost read Toy Boy, but Top Boy 12 for a 417 visa extension. Can working in a rural area in general help, or does it have to be in a farm? No, Top Boy, there is a swag of different things that you can do. It used to be farm work, right? And now it's still colloquially called farm work, but there's other things you can do. You could be on a solar farm. I know people who just work in pubs in certain areas. And on the department's website, it lists all the things you can do. If you've been helping a hazard situation, like there's been a flood or a forest fire or something like that, that'll count. There's a whole list. So just look up, what do they call it? What do they call it? They've got some funny name for it now. They call it, I don't know, sort of like registered work or something like that, or specialised. I don't know. I can't recall the exact term. But if you look up second working holiday visa on the department's website, it'll tell you must have 6 months of approved work, accredited work, whatever. And then you click on that link and it'll take you to all the things which are allowed, right? Mahmood, how about painters? Painters need jobs, right? We've taken a small number of painters, but painters need jobs. You need jobs, and you need you can download Aussie Visa, mate, my app, and check for yourself. But painters need jobs, and I don't mean as a subcontractor. I mean as an employee of a painting firm, right? So you need to be tax file numbered, not ABN. Hi man, can I eligible for Pathway 1? I was worked from... Did you pass the English? I mean, England's terrible. I was worked from last 16 months with single employer. I don't know. I don't know. Apparently New South Wales was released. I'm going to have to check it out in half an hour when I get off here. And my other project's not going to get any work done today by the looks of it. I don't know. But there'll be an update to Aussie Visa, mate. As soon as I know what's going on with New South Wales, it'll be happening. You are mine. That's what my girlfriend says to me every night. She goes, you are mine. Hope she's not watching. She's not. What is the chance for a 190 491 as a community worker? 75 points. I don't think any. I think community workers are only in demand in Western Australia. Western Australia took 181. New South Wales took 29 out of 800. So you need 90 points. There's 100 people on 90 points. I think you'd be very lucky. You might get an offer at 85, not at 75 points. So Yes, you need work. And community workers, there's a link. You can register for information, which you won't get at the moment because I haven't done the information yet, but you can register, and when I've done the information, I'll be sending that out, and we'll also be doing some sort of employment assistance for aged care workers, community workers, healthcare workers, not healthcare workers, social workers, welfare workers, disabled care workers, those industry people, and also for ECT. I haven't had an ECT person today, but for ECT. So we're doing the drivers, the carers, and the junior teachers, the childcare teachers. We're going to put together the process and the kits. The Job Services Australia report that came out a week and a half ago said these people are having difficulty finding work even though they're qualified. And so I thought, well, if we can get a group of them together and try and help out everyone, that would be a good thing. So register there, it won't cost you anything. I think it's $5 to go for the webinar, just because I've got to pay the bills, and I don't want people who aren't qualified, because the first email is going to say you need to have these things like an English test, and I don't want people who aren't qualified taking up a space in the webinar. Just because it's free and it's not costing them things. And also, I run these webinars, and then 10 people register, and then no one turns up, and I'm sitting there going, where the fuck is everyone, right? But at least if I charge people, at least they know they're serious, right? And then they should turn up. So, although the last 482 one I did, 2 people paid and they didn't show up. Never heard from them again. They just gave me money. I was like, okay, well, I'll take that. So, anyway. Community workers. So you are mine. Fill in the form on the website. Maha, how many they give invites to welders in the November? I don't know how many in that particular round. So I could look it up, but I don't know. It's not. I don't know. Jade Quirk, work in clinical trials, clinical research. Super hard to find sponsorship. Any other visa options? Well, Jade, I'd suggest that you contact the universities. They're all, in whatever field you're in, whatever you're researching, they're all approved sponsors. If you can talk to a PhD student and get some sort of thing happening, or talk to the CSIRO. There's got to be. Go to industry, if you're in Australia, go to industry events and that kind of thing. Read the journals, find out who's writing in your field, who might need your skills. Yeah. Lakshman Rawal, what's the best chances for a fitter? Fitters need jobs. So fitters are in demand, and if you can get to Australia, then I believe you should have no difficulty getting a job. You need obviously a minimum English requirement, and you need some work experience. But if you get to work, and if you've got to be prepared to. You're not going to be working in like a warehouse in Sydney or anything like that. You're going to be, on a mine or in a regional area, and if you're prepared to do all that, then I'm sure you'll find work. So, yeah, get out and sell yourself. Tasmania 190s says you can apply as long as your occupation is the same 4-digit ANSCO group. That's right. So, if you're a registered nurse aged care, but you want to apply as a registered nurse community or, I don't know, pediatrics, well, they're all in the same first 4 digits. I think maybe finance manager, auditor, accountant, they're probably all pretty close to the same 4 digits. So, yeah. Desi, how can I check my nomination is approved or received? Well, when you lodge the nomination, you'll get a receipt. So that's how you know that it's been received. And whoever lodged it, well, it's through the IMI account, so you can see its current status. You can see whether or not it has been approved or rejected, or if it's still waiting or in progress. So whoever lodged it, make a request. Ask them for the information. Of course, if you didn't do it yourself, it was your employer. Your employer might not give it to you, but you still I don't know what's going on with your visa, but if your nomination's been granted, they'll be processing your visa. If your nomination's been rejected, they will write to you, the visa applicant, and say, do you want to withdraw your application because it can't be successful now because there's no nomination. So it depends on your situation. Samik Shaya, chances for a civil engineer with 85 points in New South Wales. Civil engineers should be downloading Aussie Visa Mate to find out what chances they have. Civil engineers are in state sponsorship. There are 18,800 applicants. There's a lot. 34 of them have got 105 points, and 159 of them have got 100 points. 715 have got 95 points, and 1,600 have 90 points. How many do you have? You got 85 points. So I think you have no chance, right? No chance. So you need to have work in your field in order to get a work visa and then PR on the transition pathway. The new migration, Tasmania nomination quotas, is that BJ? I don't think we've got the quotas yet, but New South Wales apparently has released, so someone told me earlier, and I don't know if they've just done a temporary one or if they've done a full one because I haven't had a chance to do it because I've been live, but there'll be an update. There'll be an update soon. You know me, I get it out there as fast as the information hits me, and I've got followers who just love to update me and beat me to it and go, did you see this? And I go, no, because I can't see everything. I'm not omnipresent. Even though I've got the Buddha over me, and we got Jesus and Mary and Holy and all these other religious people in the didn't know about New South Wales. I actually thought that New South Wales would be the last one. But anyway, we'll see what happens. Gursab Singh, which state is good for painters? The state of employment, Gursab. If you don't have a job, you're not going to be successful, okay? It can't be any clearer than that. BJ, you can ask a question. I don't know if I can answer it, but you can ask. Please, I'm a driver. Can I know more? Sure. Just go to my link in my bio and the link tree. Information, truck drivers, fill that one in. Fill it in if you're a bus driver, truck driver, even if you're a taxi driver. The information's almost identical, right? So you need to get an Australian license. You need to get to Australia, but they can all be sponsored, right? But you're not going to be able to do it from offshore. You need to get into Australia to find a job. Someone will sponsor you, right? So Harwood followed the host. Is Albanese paying me? Well, I didn't even vote for him at the last election, so I've actually met him, not for very long, but he was doing, I think maybe the launch two elections ago, and we were in the Cricketers' Arms in Balmain, and their Labor Party thing finished, and one of my mates is a big Labor man. He's not too clued up, but he's a big Labor man. And he called Anthony over, and we had a chat for 5 or 10 minutes. He seems like a really nice, genuine guy, but I just can't do any of his policies because they're not helping Australia at all, right? So, but you know, that's just the way it is. And then there's other politicians who are complete pricks, but they actually make good policies. So it seems like you can't find a nice guy with good policies. It's tricky. I think probably the last one was Bob Hawke. So yeah. So anyway, it's going back. They don't make them like Bob anymore. That's for sure. BJ, as an ECT role working in early learning is in gold, or is it should be a school only? As an ECT role working in early learning childcare is in gold, or it should be in school only? I don't know what that question is, BJ, but if you're a male in childcare, you need to rethink your entire life choices. Thanks, G. Well, G, we're not here to to abuse people. So if you're not happy, and like if you're a sexist too, because telling people what they can and can't do, that's the reason you've got no followers and no friends, champ, because you're a racist, sexist man, and now you've been blocked. So goodbye. Block. Mute. That's what we do to not nice people on this channel. We got the tools. We can fix them. Okay. What about early childhood teachers? Look, early childhood is just crazy, right? There's 400 or 500 people joining the list every month. Last month it was 6,800. This month it's 7,300. You need to have 85 points. If you don't have 85 points, you need a job. That's it. It's really straightforward. If you don't have 85 points, then you need a job, and you're going to be working in that field for the next 4 years until you get permanent residence. So if you can't find a job because you're in Sydney or Melbourne and it's highly competitive, then I suggest you get into a very remote regional area and find an early childhood centre where you could be the only person working there, looking after 6 or 10 kids, but you'll have a visa, right? So that is my advice to you. Joe, I'm an American citizen. Shortest time to get PR as truck driver. So it's 4 years, right? So for anyone to become a citizen, they need to be legally in Australia for 4 years. The last 12 months is a permanent resident. So you can come here on a work visa for 3 years, get your permanent residence, and then 12 months after you got your PR, you can apply for citizenship. I suppose it's taking about a year to become a citizen because it's a 3-step process and blah, 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 blah. So, but you're eligible for citizenship after 4 years. And I suppose it's going to take about 6 because the PR processing's over a year at the moment, and citizenship's going to take another year. It's going to take you about 6 years, but you'll be a permanent resident after 3.5. Okay. Curtis, if I have a tourist visa, can I find a sponsor if I enter Australia? Well, yes, right? You can, right? But if your tourist visa, if people in, for instance, the Philippines, quite often they give them tourist visas because they're lovely people, but they give them an 8503 condition, which is a no further stay condition. So you can't apply for another one while you're in the country. You can't apply for anything while you're in the country. So if you get the 8503 condition, you can find a sponsor, but you'll need to leave to make a visa application, right? Now, you're a tourist. Tourists come and go. You're not supposed to be looking for work as a tourist. So you don't come in, with your clipboard and resume in hand going, what are you here for? I'm here to work, right? They'll go, they'll cancel your visa on the spot, right? So you've got to be clever about it. Email yourself your resume and come to Australia, and don't apply for jobs at the Department of Immigration, for instance. That wouldn't be a smart thing to do, right? But if you're in a pub having a drink and you see a good Aussie bloke next to you, and you're having a chat, a yarn, and you say, what do you do? And he says, oh mate, I'm a builder. And you go, oh, Struth, blimey, I'm a brickie. Do you need brickies? And he goes, yeah, sure. And then you have a couple more beers. You get him drunk, and you say, well, I'll need sponsorship. And he'll go, yeah, you're a good bloke. No worries, we'll get you that, right? So that's how you do it. You bump into people by accident, right? And these things happen, right? But you can't don't bring your suit into the country unless you're going to a wedding, right? Because if they go through your things and they say, well, what do you need this suit for? You said you're going to Dream World on the Gold Coast. What's the suit for? And you go, cancel, right? So you got to be careful. You got to be careful what you do. Sanisha, thank you. Curtis, we've answered. RJ47. It's like the AK-47, but it's an RJ. I got sponsored for direct entry as a project coordinator. Organisers met. When will I get it? So direct entry is taking 12 to 18 months. So 12 to 18 months. Yeah. Layden, you are an interesting man. I've had an interesting life. I must say, I've had a very good life. So, and it's not over yet. So, yes. But part of it is give some information to people and help people who want a better life get one, and part of it's to be entertaining so that people want to come back and watch more. All good. I'm a truck driver in Oman. Last 13 years, my education is 12th level, and IELTS 5. IELTS 5 is all you need, champ. Wuckus, M-Wuckus. Put it. Link in bio, make an application, and you meet the first requirement, which is English. And there's going to be a webinar on the things that you need and what the next steps are going to be and stuff like that. So give it a go. To win time as American, I can come as a tourist, find training school to get licensed, find job. Joe, that's it, mate. That's it. You need to do if you've already got an American license, then they'll just do a driving test with you, right? For commercial, there's a bit more to it than that. It takes about 1 to 3 weeks to go through the driving schools. You need to get health checks for commercial licenses, and depending on the state, you might need to do like some first aid courses or things like, or part of the course has to be a first aid course, so you know what happens if, I don't know, you get bitten by a snake as you're changing your tire in the middle of the desert somewhere or something like that. So it's not just a case of here's a truck, off you go. But most of the places that do the certificate 2 in driving basically give you a truck to go and do the test at the end of the course. So basically, yeah, that's it. On a tourist visa, you can study for I think up to 3 months, and they probably won't grant a student visa for a short course. They probably have to do it some other way, so like a tourist visa. But in America, you'd be fine. And they'll take your American qualification and they'll say, oh, well, yeah, you've done this and you've done this, and this is what's different. You'll need to learn, Australian road rules, because we drive on the different side of the road to you, and all that kind of stuff. So, and the wheel will be on the other side of the cabin as well. All that, but it'll be tricky for you, right? But it's not difficult. I spent, 5 or 6 years in the US on and off driving. I had a car over there. My mate got given my car. It wasn't worth anything, but he needed a car and he got it. But I used to just jump off the plane, and after the first year, you quickly learn to adapt to driving on the other side of the road and stuff like that. So, and you'd be a more professional driver than me, so you'll pick it up in no time. Yeah. Dami, I finished a degree from Aqua, non-accredited university. How much work experience for the skills assessment? Well, it depends on what you need. So if it's for truck driving, you need 2 years. If you need a diploma type course, it's 3 years, and if you need a degree type course, it's 5 years. But not all occupations allow you to use work experience. For example, medicine, right? You can't just say, oh, well, I've been a doctor for 5 years. I've been cutting people open and issuing prescriptions for 5 years. I know all about it. You actually have to go to school for medicine. But in some countries, for instance, engineering, you only need a diploma. So if you've done a diploma of engineering and you've got 5 years work experience, then that might be sufficient. But yeah, or if you've been counting numbers and you're an accountant for 5 years, etc. So I'm actually a programmer, but I'm so old that they didn't have degrees in computer science. I had to do an arts degree with mathematics and psychology and economics. So and then a bit of computing thrown in with the mathematics. So yes, it just it depends on your background and what's in ant scope. But that's basically the situation there. Curtis, I employed the service of a company to help me with a sponsorship, but I'm not sure if they are legit. Well, look, I don't know. there's like I had a mob approach me about the mining industry, about finding people and things like that, and they wanted me just to tell people basically what I'm doing, tell people what they need to do to qualify for the visa, but just highly. They said they had like 200 applicants, and they wanted me to like sit through like 5-minute videos and things, and I was quite happy to do it because they're going to pay me and everything. But they couldn't send me I couldn't even get one video from them. It was they were just hopeless. And the follow up, the woman was like, "Oh, I'm really busy and I'm interstate," and you just never contact people. So I don't know. If you can't contact people, you need to be worried, I suppose. But yeah, like there's recruitment agents out there. It's impossible. It's impossible to get a job from offshore. You need to be onshore unless the employer directly is contacting you. Like recruiters, there's too many people in Australia for them to deal with, right? So they don't need to look overseas to find someone. They don't want to make it really hard, right? They want the shortest line between waking up in the morning and getting a commission check, right? Which is find someone in Australia who can start tomorrow, right? They don't even like people who've got to give 4 weeks notice, right? So if you don't have an English test, they're going to be, come on, right? If you don't have a license, well, how are you going to be a truck driver? You need to get a license. That's another 3 weeks. You got to get into the country. You got to find a house. Blah 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 blah. Right? So what I'm saying to people is, look, you got to do your English test. You got to do a skills assessment. You got to get into Australia. You got to get your license, and then you can find some work. Right? Until you've got those 3 things, you've got no chance. Right? Even if you've got 20 years experience and all the rest of it. You're an ice truck driver from Alaska or whatever those people were on the TV. You're not employable because you don't meet the requirements. So we've got to get you meeting requirements before you make job applications. Preet, how long does it take for a 482? You've been waiting the last 5 months, still don't get a result. 3 to 5 months. 10% take more than 5 months. So in fact, they haven't even updated the processing time this month. I'm finding it hard to believe that none of the employer nomination visa times or work visa times have changed. They just don't have the manpower to update the department's website. BJ, or should I work in a school? BJ, you can, it doesn't matter where you work as long as you're employed as that occupation. And they've got an ongoing need for you, right? Samik, currently working as a civil engineer, does that give chances? Samik, as I said, there are 2,500 people with more points than you, right? So, and if you think a third of the people are going to be in New South Wales, that means there's 800 people with more points than you. If you're currently working as a civil engineer, get sponsored by your employer, and if your employer won't sponsor you, get another employer, right? If you've got Australian work experience, you've got one job, you should be able to get a second one. Civil engineers are in enormous demand, enormous, right? They're not going to want to lose someone, and if they're not going to help you out, well, they're of no use to you, right? Start finding another job. Lodged to 482. Skills and demands, already 2 months. Well, 2 months is short because the average time is 3. So hopefully you get it within another month. And I've been given the thumbs up from Kari, who found my bug in the previous version of Aussie Visa Mate, version 2.5, which came out last Friday, and we fixed it. And the current version, it's working all good. So version 2.5.1, you can download Aussie Visa Mate from the App Store. Get all the information about general skills migration, state sponsorship, and all the real cool stuff about the videos for tourist visa processing, for priority processing of spouse applications, and for, what's the other one? Parent visas, the 870 parent visa. Curtis is following me, Imran's following me, Google says hello. Thanks, mate. We're all good. Okay, well, it's an hour and a half and time is up. So thank you very much for watching. Not a single gift today, or at least not roses. But even still, we've managed to survive. We've been banned twice by TikTok and appealed successfully both times. So who knows what's going on. But I'll be back tomorrow. But download Aussie Visa, mate. If you're in the trucking or driving, caring, or teaching professions, there's links in my bio for information and webinars coming up to assist you.